Good afternoon. Welcome and thank you for coming to not so much the state of the campus, but a town hall to talk about some of the issues that we worked on this past year from the state of the campus. And many of you know that when CU opened in 1877, the entire university was housed in this building. All of 44 students attended class here. The president and his family were housed here. And it's popular folklore that the stairs were built so steeply so that the cows wouldn't wander in when this was the sole building on a windswept plain. And we've come a long way in the 136 years. We've come a long way in the 136 years since the university opened. So it's appropriate to gather in this building that symbolizes the university's heritage to talk about how far we've come this year. But first I'd like to acknowledge a few individuals. My wife Yvonne, and we don't live here. Also, Regent Steve Bosley. Steve, thank you so much for being here. Our mayor, Matt Applebaum, and several members of City Council. Tim, thank you for being here. And I'd also like to welcome several other people who may or may not be in the audience representing the chamber, the business community, Boulder Valley School District, and Boulder County. I also want to mention our three student executives. Brittany Hernandez is outgoing as the CU Student Government President. In addition to Brittany, both Tyler Quick and Logan Schultz are also leaving this year as our tri-executives. And I just want to say that the student government leaders this year were great to work with. They were very proactive and collaborative as they addressed campus issues and challenges. And I just want to give them a hand. Now, I'd like to take a moment to recognize our impressive showing in the U.S. News and World Report graduate program rankings. We learned last month that 6 graduate programs are rated in the top 10. And this includes the Atomic, Molecular, and Optical Physics program, tied at number 1 with MIT. And another, yes. And another 29 CU-Boulder graduate programs are also nationally ranked. And it's a credit to all of you that we continue to be recognized in the face of all of our challenges. Our campus has joined together this year on several fronts, and I want to acknowledge everyone's hard work. I recognize everyone has been doing more with less for a few years now, as we have confronted declining state funding, a recession, and now federal funding threats. Finally, classified staff is getting a long-deserved pay increase that includes a 2% cost of living increase with up to 1.6% based upon merit. And I want to take this opportunity to thank the Board of Regents, and Steve, please carry the message to the other board members, who last week approved an 8.7% tuition increase for the Boulder campus. The board also approved merit increase for faculty and staff of up to 3.1%. And in doing so, the Regents recognize the importance of retaining our best and brightest faculty and staff. So, Steve, thank you for members of the Board of Regents. Our campus continues to flourish because of all of your hard work, and I want to thank each of you. You own the advances we have made this year as a campus. And today, I'm pleased to update you on our tremendous progress since my State of the Campus address in October. Last fall, I announced the creation of a strategic advisory council that draws from top university or industry leaders in the external community. The council will help identify campus innovations in operating efficiently, generating new funding sources, creating new research partnerships, and building and sustaining CU's reputation in Colorado and the nation. Today, it's my pleasure to announce the 11 members of the Strategic Advisory Council. And I'll begin with Norm Augustine. Norm is a retired chair and CEO of Lockheed Martin. He is on the boards of several Fortune 500 companies. He's a regent for the University of Maryland and is nationally renowned advocate for higher education. Pamela Drew is a corporate vice president and president of Information Systems of Engineering provider ITT Excelis. She earned her doctorate, master's, and bachelor's degree here at CU-Boulder and serves on our Engineering Advisory Council. Brad Feld is co-founder of the Boulder-based Foundry Group, a venture capital firm, and Techstars, a startup accelerator. He is nationally recognized as an innovator who regularly speaks to students and has worked with our Silicon Flatiron Center and the Deming Center for Entrepreneurship. Ellison Keller is Executive Director and Chief Financial Officer of the W.M. Keck Foundation in California, and she has a long history of service and innovation. Denise O'Leary is a private investor. She was recently elected to the University of Denver Board of Trustees and serves on the board of the Bonfils-Stanton Foundation. Bill Reinhardt is a CU-Boulder alum, the national manager of the Advanced Technology Group for Toyota Motor Sales USA, and is a regular participant in our Conference on World Affairs. Todd Rulon Miller is founding partners of Apogee Venture, and this group has brought an entrepreneurial spirit, Todd has brought an entrepreneurial spirit to our CU-Boulder Parent Leadership Society as board chair for the last 3 years. And his 2 sons are seniors here at CU. Mark Sarangelo is the head of Sierra Nevada Corporation Space Systems in Louisville, which has called on our students and faculty in developing the Dream Chaser private space vehicle. The Dream Chaser has been a great CU corporate partnership. Robert Strain is president of Ball Aerospace and Technologies. And I'm happy to say that our relationship with Ball goes back more than a half a century. Ball originated from one of our earliest tech transfers. And Phil Washington, who's general manager of the Regional Transportation District. He is leading one of the most dynamic transit agencies in North America and implementing one of the largest transit expansions in the nation through a unique public-private partnership. Earl Wright is chair of the board and executive committee of AMG National Trust Bank. He served on the advisory board that identified and selected our inaugural visiting scholar in conservative thought and policy. And you can read more about all of them on my website, but briefly, we have some heavy hitters. They come from industry and nonprofits, all meeting challenges of dynamic change in their organizations and industries. Some come from fiscally challenging situations in which they've been successful. They are innovators in their fields, and to use a baseball analogy, as the season gets underway, they hit for a high average. Why are they helping us out? Because they are attracted by the challenges that public higher education faces in an era of transformation. They realize the stakes are high, but the potential rewards are great. And I've asked these industry leaders to work with us in 3 ways. First, advance the educational experience of our students to maximize their success at the university and ultimately in the workforce. Secondly, to enhance the global stature of CU-Boulder as a comprehensive national research university and collaborator with industry. And third, to help us create a sustainable fiscal and organizational model, looking at methods to maximize our effectiveness and efficiency. We will begin meeting with this group this summer and work with them over the next year plus. As you know, fundraising is also a critical component to our financial health and to the future of the university. As such, President Benson initiated a study with the goal of significantly increasing fundraising capabilities. The consultants he engaged will provide their analysis and recommendations shortly. This work is giving us insight and will help us to achieve the private fundraising goal of at least $100 million annually that we announced last fall, up from about $50 million. We also have established a goal of doubling the Boulder campus endowment of $430 million in the next 4 to 5 years. The 3 largest designated uses of our endowment are endowed chairs, endowed professorships, and scholarships. Success in increasing fundraising is dependent upon everyone working as a team, our high-quality outreach to alumni and friends, and better partnering with foundations and corporations. The foundation and the campus are exploring and deploying new social media and other strategies to increase fundraising and the number of alumni who give back to the university. We intend to build upon early successes in new configurations in our foundation development teams. For instance, a new music, arts, and culture grouping is raising more money for those areas this year than ever before in a single year. Now I want to turn to another area where we can develop revenue sources. Last fall, I spoke of working together more proactively with business and industry to generate industrial research contracts to further diversify our funding. Right now, when it comes to research revenue, we are largely dependent on federally sponsored research, which is threatened by the federal budget stalemates in Washington, D.C. Last year, our research portfolio was approximately $360 million from federal and state sources, and only $20 million from industry. Like the best research universities among our peers, we aspire to generate $100 million from industry contracts. In response, we've created a new industry initiative team that is a collaborative effort between several units. The members include our Associate Vice Chancellor for Research, Patricia Rankin, Caroline Himes, Administrator Director at LASP, Danita Ward from our Office of Contracts and Grants, and our Comptroller, Laura Reagan, and of course the Office of Technology Transfer. While industry contracts are among the most complex to negotiate because of issues of intellectual property, non-disclosure agreements, and non-compete clauses, they offer flexibility on what we can charge from government fixed rates. And I've tasked the industry initiative team with simplifying the process of connecting industry with our intellectual capital. This includes testing products on CU equipment, engaging campus technical staff, and making use of CU's expertise. This will partner the university with industry more readily, build research, and benefit industry, the economy, and the campus. We are continuing to bring faculty into the broader discussion. Bruce Eaton, a professor from chemistry and biochemistry, will chair the faculty advisory group. I would like to take a minute now to discuss the federal side of our research funding. In the United States, there are more than 2,700 four-year and graduate not-for-profit colleges and universities. Approximately 250 of those are considered to be highly research active. And from this cohort, it is interesting to note that over half of our nation's university research productivity comes from only 25 universities, and CU is number 22nd. I think we deserve a little applause for that. Further, a 2010 study in the journal Science showed 19 American universities generating about half of the US research citations. CU-Boulder is number 8 on that list. This demonstrates the high quality and success of our faculty. but we are now entering a much more competitive environment. Due to sequestration, research universities are already seeing smaller research contracts going to fewer institutions. We anticipate that research funding, as a discretionary item in the federal budget, will continue to be under pressure for several years to come. We must be smarter about how we engage with the federal government so we can effectively compete. Stanford University President John Hennessy recently opined that there should be fewer research universities. He's probably right. So our goal must be to remain in the top 25. We will do that in part by bolstering the work of our faculty in the halls of Washington, D.C., through our government relations staff and lobbyists on the ground there. We will also do it by bringing to campus heads of federal agencies and government departments, as well as our congressional delegation, so they can see our outstanding work firsthand. Even though the size of the federal funding pie is being reduced, we feel confident our slice will not diminish because of our highly competitive track record for research awards. We also need to remain highly vigilant and take an active role in heading off efforts to constrict the kind of research that we do. For instance, earlier this month, Congress passed an amendment to the budget bill banning the National Science Foundation from funding political science research unless it focuses on national security or the economy. This funding equates to about $11 million a year nationally. We must continue to work with the Association of American Universities, the AAUs, and other national organizations to bring universities together to fight off efforts to limit certain types of research based upon the popular mood of the moment. We also will watch the impact of federal budget negotiations on students' access to higher education. For now, federal Pell Grants are protected, but some student aid and work-study grants may be cut. To emphasize, it's increasingly important to be competitive and innovative in research proposals. And as I mentioned earlier, it'll be critical to engage in partnerships with industry. I want to take a minute to talk about one of the best examples we have on this campus of the benefits of long-term research and development. And I'm referring to the scheduled launch in November of the newest Mars Explorer, MAVEN. MAVEN is the Mars Atmosphere and Volatile Evolution mission. It's the largest research contract in our history at $485 million. It's NASA's first mission to study Mars's upper atmosphere. Bruce Jakowski, the Associate Director for Science at LASP, is the principal investigator. We are providing the science operations, the space instruments, and the public education outreach for the mission. MAVEN has created multiple jobs across the country in the aerospace industry and has added to the research prowess of the United States. I also spoke in the fall about how higher education is entering a transformative era of massive open online courses, or MOOCs. In February, we announced to the regions that we have contracted with Coursera and will begin offering 4 MOOC courses this fall. Coursera allows top-tier universities like ours to make select courses available for free to hundreds of thousands of students worldwide. About 35 universities from the US and internationally are now using Coursera, which has reached more than 2 million students across the globe. Our peers contracting with Coursera include Duke, Stanford, and the University of Washington. It's a tremendous way to show the expertise and academic variety that CU-Boulder has to offer. A faculty committee is working with faculty from engineering and arts and sciences in the area of physics and computer science to get the courses up and running. At this moment, the courses to be offered are Intro to Physics, Linear Programming, power electronics, and to show our creative side, graphic novels and comics. And listen to this, more than 22,500 people have already enrolled in these courses. And we haven't started them yet. They start in the fall. So we have over 22,000 students enrolled in these 4 courses. And presently, no credit is associated with these courses, but we anticipate credit will eventually be offered. We have a team evaluating how MOOCs will affect us and how we will participate in the future. And it's important to join our peers, get experience, and learn the processes so that we can operate effectively and competitively in this new arena. I want to update you on a few other important items that have been in the news this semester. We are pleased to have Stephen Hayward as our inaugural visiting scholar in conservative thought and policy, who will begin this fall. This privately funded program will spark further debate, discourse, and critical thinking among our students. More than 20 donors contributed $1 million to support the program. Dr. Hayward will teach in both the fall and spring semesters and will likely host public events on campus and perhaps around the state. He is tentatively scheduled to teach 4 undergraduate courses, 3 in political science and 1 in environmental studies. We look forward to working with Stephen. In February, we presented a plan for athletic facility upgrades to our Board of Regents, a plan that relies on donor support to get started. No tuition, fees, or state funding will be used. The project relies on fundraising, Pac-12 athletic revenues, and our own ticket revenues. All of this will take some time to put in place. The improvements will be implemented in phases. The first phase reflects our dedication to our young athletes as students first, with construction of the academic center. Future phases will improve the experience of our fans and provide better athletic facilities for students and student athletes. The upgrades require region approval, and we expect to bring initial plans to the board in December. Finally, let's talk about our biggest source of revenue, our enrollment. Fundamental to our future success as a top 25 research university is attracting the best and brightest students. But the competitive landscape for top students has changed. Out-of-state universities are making strong bids for our top resident students with competitive financial aid packages. In response, we employed new recruiting strategies, including a new merit scholarship for high-achieving resident students called the Esteemed Scholars Program. We invested $2 million in the program. The scholarships are at 3 levels and award top Colorado students up to $20,000 over 4 years based upon high school GPA and test scores. Many people have banded together to encourage our top admitted students to enroll. Deans and faculty members have written letters to admitted students. The vice chancellors and I personally called top admitted students, reaching 300 of them in one night last month. Regent Steve Bosley and Irene Grego joined us in making those calls. Student leaders took time out of their busy schedules to call underrepresented admitting students, encouraging them to enroll. And admissions has called more than 4,500 admitted students. This has been a great unified outreach effort from all corners of the campus and illustrates a collective effort for our common goals. This is not a singular effort. We are committed to recruiting top quality students on an ongoing basis. We want them to know CU's value before they make an enrollment decision. As a team, we need to recognize that this effort must be stepped up even more next year to remain competitive. As I speak of high-achieving students, it reminds us that in just 3 weeks, 6,084 students will graduate, and many of them are top-notch. Top students elevate the lives of all students, faculty, and the entire university community through classroom engagement, service, and leadership. This spring's graduating class includes 11 Becher Scholars, 19 Norland Scholars, 2 Goldwater Scholars, which is often called the nation's premier scholarship for math, science, and engineering, and 11 graduates in the President's Leadership class. 2 are going into Teach for America, 7 are headed for graduate programs, and 2 are going to medical school. This year, the Air Force ROTC Onizuka Squadron won Best Medium-Sized Squadron in the nation. And that's on the heels of the Army ROTC winning one of 8 MacArthur Awards as one of the nation's best. As a campus, we have aspired to give all of our students a lifelong love of learning, and we have empowered them to lead the way with their youthful light. Faculty and staff have guided and mentored these graduates, sharing their time, knowledge, and expertise to help each student reach this important milestone and their full potential. So today, I would like to encourage faculty to come to commencement May 10th and sit with the students, sit with your favorite student in a show of support. It's been a rewarding year. As we continue to make progress toward our goals, I want to extend my most sincere appreciation to all of you for all that you do for this great university. Through your devotion, energy, and efforts, we continue to make progress and to reach unprecedented new heights. And I'm confident that by continuing to work together, we can succeed in making the University of Colorado Boulder the new flagship university for the 21st century, and one of the most productive and influential research universities in the nation. Thank you. We have microphones, so everyone can hear. If there are questions, please come to the microphone. Is there a microphone up on the balcony? No, but you can yell down, okay? John, are you coming up for a question? Or?
Indeed I am. So, okay, well this might sound like a softball question, but it speeds up, trust me. I think there's a lot of great things going on this campus, and I think this morning I heard about STEM efforts, and I've heard our engineering schools doing this, that, and the other. Great things across the board. I've been here for 7 years, and I get excited every day I come to work because I do hear about these things. I think the rub is we almost have a cultural aversion to bragging about ourselves, and that's the good light. In some ways, it could be that people around campus and people outside of campus almost take us for granted. So it's not just a new website or new communication tool. How do we change a cultural mindset? And I think you've been here long enough to maybe understand what I'm asking. So.
Sure, and I think that's a question that we talk about quite a bit. And certainly with Francis Draper as our Vice Chancellor for Strategic Relations, we're moving toward a new communication plan for the university, a very consistent communication plan, not only from my office and the other Vice Chancellors, but coming from the schools and colleges and departments. I think it's extremely important that the communication plan that we develop, there's consistency to it, that we are sending the same positive messages about the university. There are certainly negative things that happen on the campus, and we'll certainly report on those. But I think that it's incumbent upon us in our communication plan to make sure that we talk about the reputation of the University of Colorado Boulder. Our reputation is known more outside the state of Colorado and the country and the U.S. than it is sometimes in Colorado. And we need to do a better job of informing our legislators, of informing government leaders, working closely with the Chamber of Commerce, working closely with the City Council to get our messages across about this great university. We're not perfect, and there's always room for improvement, and we'll continue to work on the improvement, but we really do need to have a communication plan that talks about what we're doing as a university. As I said, our reputation is far greater outside the state of Colorado than it is within the state. And that's something I'd like to change before, I've been here a long time, before I ride out on to the sunset and retire. That's something that I definitely want to change. So thank you for that question.
Hello, my name is Kim Calamino. I think your answer to the last question goes away towards answering my question, but could you talk some more about how we remain in that top 25 group of research institutes so we are continuing to receive federal funding?
You know, I believe the key to remaining in that top 25, recruitment of faculty and students. It's the faculty and it's our students who give us the reputation of a top research university. People ask me all the time, what keeps me up at night? And Yvonne will tell you I'm up a lot during the nights. And what keeps me up is losing our best faculty. That's what I worry about the most. And in today's world, as other states move more quickly to better state funding than Colorado, we're going to have a challenge in keeping our best faculty. I mentioned to our Board of Regents a couple of weeks ago that in Steve's college, the College of Arts and Sciences, I think we had 48 or 49 retentions overall. Yes, overall, and that's up from when I was provost, and Russ and I have talked about this, I think I had somewhere between maybe 12 or 15 at the most. So that's what worries me the most. And so it's not only recruiting the best faculty, but it's keeping the best faculty. That's how we're going to keep our top 25 reputation.
Thank you.
Sure. Jim.
We continue to hear this constant reduction of support from the state, now at, I think, 5.3%.
And
a little bit lower, but
it's what?
It's lower, actually.
It's lower than that. Yeah, I thought it was more like 3 or between 3 and 4. But in any case, the projection is that it's heading towards 0. And I'm just wondering if you could explain to us why a public university of this quality in this state can't generate more support from the people and the legislature in this state.
Right, a very good question, and I want to say that we're about 4.3% of the Boulder budget comes from the state. You know, roughly our budget's about $1.3 billion, and we get, you know, a little bit over $50 million coming from the state. So it's about 4.3%. I want to say, first of all, that the legislature has been very supportive. They can't support us financially because there's not the dollars to support us financially. The legislature in the last 2 or 3 years has been great from the standpoint of giving us some of the flexibility that we need. For example, we want to increase the number of international students, and I've talked a little bit about this before on the campus. And we couldn't do that because of the cap on non-resident students, including international students. And not only is the recruitment of international students good for the quality of education for all of our students, it also helps us with resources. And so the state says, you know, we can't give you any more money because we don't have it, but we'll give you that flexibility to increase the number of international students. And we've seen a significant increase of international students. And our goal is to get to about 12% of the student population. And I believe right now we're somewhere around 6 to 7%. So the state is helping us do things by giving us the flexibility that we need. Some of you heard that President Benson has been talking about a ballot initiative for 2014. And next week, President Benson will be on campus to do his town hall meeting with the campus. And I'm sure he'll have more to say about that. But what I didn't want to do is to wait. I didn't want to wait to see if there's going to be a ballot initiative and see if it passes, or wait to see if there's some sort of, again, through a ballot measure, a repeal of Tabor or Gallagher. I think that's foolish. to wait in these times. And that's why I moved this year to form the advisory council that I mentioned today, and to charge the faculty and staff with increasing that industry funding. I want to look at these other sources of funding, and of course private fundraising. That's why we announced, moving from 50 million to 100 million. I don't want to bet on, even though I love the citizens of Colorado, I can't bet that they're going to pass a referendum to support higher education. So I felt it was that, again, we couldn't sit on our hands. We really had to go out and make some bold decisions. And that's why we're doing the things that we're doing with fundraising, with the Industry Advisory Council, Business and Industry Advisory Council, and to look at this new method of increasing industry research. The point about that industry research that I mentioned is, we're capped with federal research funds on how much we can charge for indirect costs. And with industry research, we can do more. We can negotiate that. And that will help all of us. I mean, and I didn't spend a whole lot of time talking about all the good things happening in the social sciences and humanities and the arts, but that research funding is going to help to preserve what we're doing in those areas as well. Jerry?
Yesterday afternoon, the Boulder Faculty Assembly held a recognition ceremony for what we consider the most meaningful awards to our faculty. Those are the Boulder Faculty Excellence Awards, selected by our faculty and given to their fellow faculty colleagues in teaching, in service, and in research, scholarly, and creative work. I'd like to thank you, Phil, for providing the financial support which makes a concrete addition to the recognition by the faculty.
Well, thank you. Jerry, it's my pleasure to do that. And I looked at the winners. I'm sorry, I wasn't able to attend yesterday's award ceremony for the BFA. But what I'm amazed about with the recipients is that they're all triple threats. Somebody who, for example, John Kumalat, if I remember correctly, received the BFA award for service. But John is one of our top researchers on the campus and one of our best teachers. So John was somebody that could have been in any category of the three. But I'm pleased that he was given the award for service because it shows that our top faculty making contributions to service to the university. And that's important. So thank you, Jerry. Yes.
Hi, Leslie Smith, board member from Boulder Valley School District.
Leslie, good to see you.
I just want to say that related to finances, I think it's appalling that in our state, where we should be thinking of preschool through college, that really we are pitting each other against each other. That we were down at the Capitol all day yesterday meeting with Senators Johnston and Heath about the School Finance Act. We're fighting for money, you're fighting for money. We should be working together to get money for our students for public education.
Absolutely, and let me first of all thank you for your service on the school board, which is an incredibly important position. I believe in united fronts. I believe that when you form coalitions and you bring people together, whether it's K through 12 and higher ed and community colleges all together, we'll get more done than if we try to pit each other against one another. Number one, that's very destructive, and number two, the results, I think if you look historically, the results are no one wins. And I'd much rather see us work together, and I'm pleased you're representing the Boulder Valley School District, and I think what we have to continue to do is, in our city, with City Council, the Chamber, the school district, and the university, just work together on a united front. I really appreciate your comments. Thank you.
Thank you. And I also wanted to ask, now that the asset bill passed and finally our undocumented students have a chance at going to college, I'm wondering, since many of these students' parents have maybe gone to school through third grade, certainly not even high school, how is CU going to recruit and, more importantly, support these students so that they will finish in 4 or 5 years at the university.
We're very committed to that. I think all of us in the University of Colorado system supported that bill so that these students who graduate from our high schools, who've spent time as middle school students and high school students, have the opportunity to come to the University of Colorado or any post-secondary institution. What we have through Bob Boswell's office and our Office of Diversity, we have programs such as Lead Alliance programs. And the Lead Alliance programs are in all of our schools and colleges. And they bring together cohorts of students, mainly first-generation minority students. And these students work together as a cohort with advising, taking classes. The graduation rates, I want to say, Bob, are higher for students in the Lead Alliance than they are for the general campus. And there's a general campus is somewhere around 67%. Our students in the Lead Alliance graduate in the 70s. So we have programs for these students, and not only will we welcome these students, but we'll certainly work with them. Just this morning, excuse me, I had a meeting with the Community Foundation, and Sandy Bracken was in attendance, along with Josie Heath and a representative from the chamber. And we talked about the community coming together to help with the achievement gap that we have in Boulder County. Most people don't recognize that we have this large achievement gap in our K-12 system. And it's due to the number of students at poverty level, mainly on east of Boulder, but in our county. And how do we work together to close that achievement gap? And again, it's what you mentioned earlier. It's not one group against the other, but it's the Community Foundation, the school district, the chamber, and the university working together.
And I look forward to that.
Great. Anything else? All righty. Listen, I want to thank you all for being here today. Is there a reception upstairs? Is that, I think we announced that there will be a reception upstairs. If you have time, please stop by and chat with your colleagues. Again, I want to thank the faculty, the staff, and the students for all you do at the University of Colorado Boulder. Thank you.